So welcome to a very special edition of Let Him Find You. And you may have noticed that this week there's something massively different because I'm in it. I'm normally standing behind the camera, operating the camera for Nicki while she does these. But I'm here for a very special reason.
Yes, thank you. And yes, welcome back to Let Him Find You. And this is very special because I have asked Tony to tell us all the man's view, to tell us what men are thinking, what they're doing, because so often when women are asking me questions or looking at my videos or reading on my courses or actually at our live meetups, they ask questions which I say, oh my goodness me, Tony would answer this so brilliantly because why? Because he's a man. And so actually, yeah.
So it's going to be great because, you know, I don't know what Nicki's going to ask me, but hopefully I know. My kids believed when they were little that I knew the answers to all of the questions. It was only later in life they sort of started to think, oh, maybe he doesn't. But anyway, it's part of the fun. So trust that I'm going to know all the answers, or at least have a perception or a view on the questions that Nicki's going to ask me. And certainly, we just wanted to share also that at the next, or all of our meetups, you know, I'm going to be the guy there. I'm certainly going to operate, you know, the kit, so to speak, or the technology that needs operating. Men tend to do that. And I'm going to be doing that. But I'm also going to be there for the Q&A session. So you will have a man's view. And, you know, I'm not just any old man. I've studied relationships inside out, back to front, helped many single women, single men, couples with Nicki and without Nicki for, you know, over 10 years. And so, yeah, it's my favourite subject, and I obviously love sharing it with Nicki. It's the most powerful thing we do, is to help people in their relationship life. So I'm going to be there live, and you can, you know, fall on my male energy to ask me questions. What's really going on in a man? And I've also got the pleasure, it's my dream come true, you know, when I was a young guy, you know, I'd like to go out with more women, you know. But on our meetups, you're going to find out that, you know, I'm taking you all out in the evening, you know, so because we're going out for some live experiences, and I'm going to be there so that you can come and ask me questions about different men, what they're doing, what they're up to, what they're thinking, what they're saying, all of that sort of stuff. So it's going to be a live thing on our meetups. It's going to be quite fun. We've done lots. We've been to nightclubs, we've been to bars, we've been at almost anywhere you can imagine to do our coaching. So it's the evening session is going to be very open and fun time, and I'm going to be there to support you as well as Nicki.
Yes, and I want to say something. This is not just any man's view. This is the view of a healthy masculine man as well. Because if you've listened to any of the other videos in the Let Him Find You series, video chats, you'll know that what all women want, and I know what you really want, is not just any man to come and find you, but you want a healthy, masculine, strong, fantastic man to come and find you. So obviously I am sitting here having had that experience, otherwise I wouldn't be teaching it. And so what we are going to find out is how to spot a fantastic, healthy, masculine man when he comes along, because you'll hear the same kind of answers come out of his mouth as from Tony's. So, and let me just go back to square one. When I first met Tony, before we got together, I actually was invited, or he invited me to go along and hear him speak. And he was sharing with a group of people in a television studio his kind of future vision for what he wanted to do with the rest of his life. Well, number one, this is a very great thing for a man, because to even have a vision and a purpose for his life, so he's not just, you know, got a job that he doesn't like and he, you know, just to pay the bills, but actually he's going, look, I want to do something with my life and I want to make a difference. So number one thing was he actually was sharing his purpose. But the second thing that happened was at the end of the evening, we had somebody interview us and ask us how, you know, what we thought and how we got on during the evening. And I said the words, and it's actually on video somewhere in the archives. I actually said, I'd never met a man so clear and dedicated to his purpose. And so, of course, at that time, I wasn't even, you know, I wasn't thinking about, you know, being with Tony. We just met, and we just met at a few different events. But I actually think about that, and I go, hold on a minute. So when we then got together, what was so amazing for me was that he had had an amazing life with amazing businesses, but actually that he has now dedicated the rest of his life not only to helping people be healthy and happy and fulfilled, but that he's dedicated his life to assisting people with their intimate relationships. So I believe he knows more about women and women's needs than any other man on the planet. So how lucky am I?
It's a big build-up.
It's a big build-up. But I do think, so, literally I hang on his every word, of course, but that's because I'm his wife. I think it would be really, really useful for him. So without further ado, let me ask him some questions. So I haven't really prepared anything. I'm thinking, what is what women ask me the most? So I'm going to put you right on the spot here and say, women think that men are attracted to, blonde. I hear women go blonde, bimbo-y, big tits, long blonde hair, whatever that is.
Is that true?
Is that true? Is that true?
Okay, so great question, and I think there's two answers to it really, because look, we always separate the healthy men from the unhealthy men. So a guy, I've seen on the television once this set of glasses which you can wear, which are connected to a computer, and they look at what you look at, and then they put them on men going in bars, and sure enough, they do look at tits and bums.
We saw that, didn't we?
And what was interesting is when they put them on the women, the women actually were checking out the men. They check out two key areas. One is their private parts, and secondly, they're checking out the breadth of their shoulders.
I never knew that women. Well, obviously, women, the certain type of woman, was checking out the men's private parts. I don't ever remember doing it myself, but I must have done, of course.
Yes, anyway.
But anyway.
And modern athletics is a great opportunity for you to experience this. So when you're watching the men do the 100 metres, what are you actually watching? That's a good sign, just to check in with yourself. Yeah. So anyway, that aside, I think healthy men are more driven sexually because they're trying to meet their needs in this sort of unhealthy world. So they are attracted, there's no doubt at all. So remember, I always say with all of our relationship stuff that ultimately you want a healthy man. So what's he going to be checking out that's different to that? And what he tends to be looking for is a woman that he can actually connect with. Someone that he feels like not just attracted to, but connected with. And I can remember getting this connection with Nicki. It was like, it was a lovely feeling for starters. It felt like something different to normal, and it felt very real, it was a very in the moment experience, almost like something saying, alarm bells going, could this be, the woman? I didn't originally feel that way, but it sort of dawned upon me as we were having a discussion that, oh my God, this is like the perfect woman for me. And that actually came from an exchange of energy. So I think that's something that you're looking for, is a man who's in great energy. I think it's a man that's at peace with himself. Because a man that's looking for sex is generally not at peace with himself. So he's looking to release that pent-up energy. And so I think it really is a case that he's looking for a woman that he can connect with. He's definitely not looking for a mother, though. So I think that's a real. I can tell you more what he's not looking for than what he is looking for. I think that he's not looking for someone that will take care of him, and he's not looking for somebody that will challenge him. So he's just looking for someone that will see his greatness. So I know that one of the tricks that we've used to teach women this is to, when you get into a situation where you're first with your man, or with a man, is you need to ask him lots of questions. And you need to ask him questions about, his life, his purpose in life and stuff like that. And just see what he says. Because we've definitely seen couples come along after they're committed, and the man's purpose is not really there, and this relationship starts to dwindle very fast. So you're looking for a man with a purpose, and you find that out by asking him questions. But he'll look solid, he'll look certain in himself. That's what I believe that you're
and I was think we always say, that a man who's certain about himself and who's got his life sorted out is really unconsciously not just looking for what a woman looks like, absolutely not, because he's looking for a woman who is happy in herself too.
No, I agree.
Very happy in herself. So actually her physique and her looks is less relevant, because it's an unconscious move towards somebody who's actually not, as Tony said, it's interesting, it's easier to say what she's not. So you can use the word she's happy in herself and she's in a good space and all those kind of slightly out there. You can definitely use the words, and I've heard you say a man doesn't want to be challenged, but he also doesn't want a woman to be needy either. So he doesn't want to have to, he wants to take care of her, he doesn't want to have to take care of her because she's in such a bad state.
Yeah, I think
there are men who do that.
I've definitely seen women that are have a sort of an insatiable need for certainty and security. In other words, they can't do anything. It's like they are so needy of the man that the man goes, this is just too much work, So I think it's again about, we use the colour green to describe, a man needs to be certain and solid in himself, but you need to be in a happy, loving, giving space, not trying to get. So you don't want a man that's trying to get, you're with a man that's not trying to, he's just being in himself, really. And they are out there, I think we gave some numbers, we did some numbers and crunched some numbers and some statistics and said, look, there are a lot of guys out there, but you have to be in that energy to get them to move towards you.
Great. So my next question is, so many girls ask me, they go, how come I keep getting men that I'm not attracted to coming towards me, but the ones I really like seem to move away from me? What is going on in the man?
So, I think it is.
It's like a tough question.
It is. But I think it is an energy, and obviously, if you've done our Let Him Find You course one, which we did together, it's all about your energy as a woman. And so remember that energy is greatly underestimated. What the interpretation of your energy. It's almost like, so look, if somebody walked up to you and you didn't say a word, we put so much on the words that you've got to say something for you to get a sense of that person. But the truth is you don't. You actually read most of it through their physiology, the way they hold themselves, the way they act, that sort of thing, and also through their tonality, of course, which is what you hear in their voice. But look, it said more than half of it is your physiology. So as a guy approaches you, he is energetically connecting or not connecting with you through just your physiology. So the way that you present yourself is absolutely crucial. But look, you don't want to be presenting yourself in a getting mode. So that could be getting by normally being overtly sexual, by dressing very sexually to capture him. That's when, he's going to be looking at tits and bums. If you've got them showing, he's going to be looking at them, and you're going to attract that energy. So if you've got a more sexually overt energy going out, you will attract men that, are in that unhealthy red state that basically are looking for sex. So you need to be dressing beautifully, I always say, beautifully in a way that energetically meets the way that you truly are. We're not trying to paint on a falseness. I always love the Chris Rock when he says, who's the biggest liars, men or women? And of course, the audience go crazy because the women are all going, oh, it's men, and the men are all going, it's the women. But of course, his point about lying from a woman's viewpoint is that they actually tell a lot of small lies. And one is, he goes, look, you're not really that tall. You're not really that tall. You've got high heels on. He's sort of seeing that as a lie, And you don't really look like that because you've got like 2 tons of makeup on. That's not the real you. So it's like, if you're putting on a mask, then that's trying to make you look, different to who you really are, then I think that when that mask comes off, of course, he sees somebody who's not the person he connected with. Yes. So, I remember my very first girlfriend when I was 16. She wouldn't let me see her. I mean, I don't know what year this was. I was 16, I don't know, 1970 or something like that, yeah. And false eyelashes were in fashion massively at that time. She wouldn't let me see her without her false eyelashes on. She wouldn't let me see it. No, I wasn't allowed to.
Yeah, but I remember being like that when I was young. I was terrified of somebody to see me without my makeup on or without my... Yeah. Well, like Chris Rock says, your boobs aren't that big, and I've always worn a push-up bra.
Yeah, that's a push-up bra.
But yeah, that's right. Seriously, the key distinction here is that if you present yourself in a non-real way, you will attract someone who's non-real too.
Absolutely,
he's putting on some sort of act as well. So the kind of answer to the question, which is a great way, thank you brilliantly where you answered it, is that actually, if you do that, what you'll find is that unhealthy men will come towards you. It will work. And the key thing, this is what we share with so many couples, is that that's not sustainable, because eventually you let down all those kind of, put on masks, and all of a sudden, you've got two different people standing or sitting there. But what happens with the healthy man is he picks up, is my understanding, he picks up this trying too hard and will actually move away from a woman who is trying to get him, if you know what I mean. Would that be true? Do you think that's conscious?
It's a chemistry thing. Look, as I know I've said in lots of other videos, it's your chemistry is key. And if you learn to be in control of your chemistry, in other words, you're emitting a lovely energy, a loving energy primarily, that you're giving love, as we always call it, then actually that energy is going to be received by the right person. Yes. So just imagine, and I know we mentioned in another video earlier, the film Celestine Prophecy, because in that film, it's a bit of a B-rated movie, but in that film it shows people walking around with their sort of aura on, showing their auric field, and it shows it like in different colours. But look, if you go out, you are carrying your aura with you, and it's it's big, it's not small, and other people sense it. How you sort of sense when somebody's in your space? It's because they're in your auric field. Now, just because that's like a little bit out there doesn't mean it doesn't exist. This is your energy field. Now, you are responsible for your energy field. So if you are attracting men that are not good, it's because your auric field and their auric field is somehow in connection. So once you can take responsibility for your auric field and put the real you in there, the not frightened you, the person that's certain, as I always go, certain in themselves, they're certain that they're in control of themselves, then the same energetic person will be drawn to you. And if there's like 100 people in the room, you can pretty much guarantee there'll be half a dozen people in there that will be in really great energy, and you will naturally find yourself in their place with them, because like energy attracts like energy. That's the sort of truth of it.
And it always makes me think about so many of the women that we've worked with over the years whose man has found them. So many of them already knew the man.
Yes.
Or, met him like we did, but kind of, met a couple of times. It didn't really kind of happen. There was nothing between us until it did happen. And what I find so fascinating is that when you talk to women about how they were with the men that have found them, is that they say, well, because I didn't fancy him, because I wasn't trying to be with him, I wasn't trying. I was being like I am with my girlfriends. I was being like I am with my sister or my brother or whatever. And all of a sudden, he was attracted to me. Yes. Now, here's what's so great is that so many women go out, and as you say, they put their kind of, their mask on or kind of thing. And then they see a man that they want to be with, or they see the one they like, and they put on this kind of other mask, which is of like, it's not themselves, and they know they're doing that. And I know that many of you have spoken to me about that. You've gone like, I don't seem to be able to be myself with a man if I like him, if I fancy him, if I think he's the one. So actually the key distinction here is to be yourself the whole time. And the likelihood of him finding you is so much greater and so much quicker, because he's going to find your great aura, your great energy that you're in. Well, of course, one has to live in this best energy as we can. And of course, lots of our videos have been about being in that lovely pink, green energy the whole of our life, not just when we're in front of a guy.
Yeah, so don't forget, we're going to be practicing this on our meetup. Yes. So absolute live demonstration of this, and I'm going to be, there, watching, observing, seeing what's going on. You can come and ask me questions. It's going to be fun. So I don't know if anybody else has ever done this. No. I know some dating sites do meetup type stuff, but they've never done it in the way that we're going to do it, because we're going to be on hand to help you with some of that fine detail, which you can see. Yes. As Nicki asked me the questions, some of it's like, it's almost there's no language to explain it. But
yeah, because
anyway.
also I think a lot of it's unconscious.
Yes.
A lot of men do things unconsciously without even knowing. And the other thing that often, I won't ask another question now, but one thing that we are going to be doing at the next meetup is that we're going to be talking about how women put themselves on the dating site. Because again,
Absolutely.
the biggest thing that happens on dating sites is you get a load of guys come towards you, or you're not your type at all, and then you don't have connection with the guys that you want to be with. So it's the same as the question I just asked you. And so the great thing that Tony has done very, very often, which I believe is even better, much better than me doing it, is to take a look at your photograph that you go on your profile, to take a look at the words that you use to describe yourself, and give you the man's view of that. Because I can give you my view of it, but obviously that's never going to be in any way, shape or form the same as a man giving you that. So that's our kind of bonus session this time. And so if that's something that you can do, you can get on a plane, a bus or a train or
in your car.
Come to the next meetup. And you will have the opportunity of course, of learning loads of stuff, having loads of fun, chatting with other women who are in the same journey as you are, in that mode of getting themselves ready for him to find you. And added bonus, you'll be able to ask a healthy masculine man lots of questions about men and about how you show up.
Indeed. So I'm sure there's boxes around this video where you can, find out about coming to the next meetup, because it's going to be like an amazing opportunity for you to get a new education. Because look, my truth is that I believe the reason that relationships go so wrong in our modern world is because there is no education. There's no way you can go and actually learn this stuff. And the main leaders of education are things like women's magazines, which are giving like top tips, which we tend to feel are not the best way to get an education. So we're going to have a live education, then we're going to go on and try it, go out and try it on, as I always call it.
Yes.
So yeah, looking forward to meeting you at one of our meetups. And I think till then we're probably pretty done.
Yes, I think the only thing I would say is that last time, on the last Let Him Find You video chat, we actually talked about that, taking some action, because if we don't do something different, we're going to keep getting the same results. So maybe now is the time for you to take some action and get some more information to get yourself even more ready for him.
Yeah, I think I remember standing behind the camera once with Nicki, where she said, look, for the girls that really, really want to get the experience of a great relationship, you need to make it your number one priority. Yes. Which means that not only do you need to give it a lot of energy in terms of moving towards, but you need to really go out there and get as educated as you can, so that you make sure that Mr. Right actually finds you and not another guy who's, it's not going to work out with.
So good. So get your information in the box, or click on the box and get yourself booked into some fantastic time with us real soon.
Yeah, so bye for now.
Bye-bye.